The cryogenic chamber hissed and shook. A thin layer of frost melted from the walls as lights flickered on, revealing the figure inside. Aaron's eyes opened slowly. He blinked, adjusting to the harsh glow that seemed too bright after centuries of darkness. His body ached in ways he could not immediately name, as if time itself had settled into his bones. He tried to move, but his muscles protested. Every joint screamed with stiffness, and every breath felt like a first effort. Yet there was something stronger than the pain. Curiosity. Aaron pushed himself upright, his gloved hands brushing frost from the smooth, curved interior of the chamber. Outside, the room was silent. Too silent. The facility, which should have been alive with the hum of machinery and the chatter of scientists, was empty. Dust coated every surface, and streaks of age and decay were visible under the harsh lights. Screens flickered here and there, some barely showing fragments of data. Automated systems continued to work, but only in short, sporadic pulses. The world outside the chamber was not the one Aaron had left. It had changed in ways he could not yet imagine. He took a cautious step forward, testing his balance. The floor felt solid, yet the emptiness around him made the echo of his movements thunder. He walked down the corridor, past doors that once led to laboratories, sleeping quarters, and observation rooms. Each door was closed, as if the past had frozen in place. He ran his hand over one of them, feeling the chill of metal that had not been touched in ages. In one room, he found personal belongings, a photograph of a smiling family, faded letters, and a small toy spaceship. His heart clenched. Memories he had long buried stirred within him. He remembered laughter, arguments, the simple comfort of being part of a bustling living world. And now, there was nothing. Aaron moved toward the central control hub. Here he hoped to find answers. Holographic interfaces flickered weakly, showing fragments of data that had survived centuries. He touched one panel and it sparked to life, displaying a partial record of the last human messages. Some were warnings, others were instructions for survival, but most ended abruptly, mid-sentence, as if the writers had vanished into thin air. He scanned the records carefully. One message, labeled only as urgent, caught his attention. It spoke of a strange cosmic event approaching, a ripple of energy that could alter life as they knew it. Scientists had tried to develop a defense, a shelter, or perhaps a way to survive it. But the last entry was different. It was a simple note, almost personal, addressed to anyone who might awaken. If you see this, know that we fought until the end. Humanity may not be here, but hope is in your hands. Aaron's chest tightened. Hope. It seemed absurd given the silence around him, but there was also a spark inside him, a determination that refused to be crushed. Humanity might have disappeared, but he had survived. That in itself was a miracle, and perhaps it was a chance to understand what had happened and maybe to make it right. The facility's doors led to the outside world. Aaron had expected ruin, but he was unprepared for the sight that met him. The sky was strange, not dark but not familiar either, a pale, washed-out shade that seemed to hum with quiet energy. The air was still, and a faint wind carried a scent that was both metallic and earthy. Vegetation had overgrown the city that sprawled below. Buildings, once symbols of human ambition, now crouched under layers of moss and vines. Roads were cracked and the streets were empty, save for the occasional bird that had adapted to the silence. Aaron stepped out onto the observation deck. The scale of emptiness hit him like a wave. Cars rusted in place. Streetlights leaned over cracked asphalt. Even the sound of wind seemed muffled, as though the world itself held its breath. He called out, his voice echoing into the void. No answer came. He wandered through the city, moving carefully. Every corner revealed new layers of abandonment. Libraries filled with decaying books, schools with chalk still smeared on blackboards, playgrounds where swings swayed gently in the wind, moved by nothing but air. It was beautiful and tragic at once. Aaron realized that humanity had vanished not because of neglect, but because of something far greater, something he could not yet see. Hours passed. As he explored, he began to notice subtle clues. Machines still worked in isolated pockets. A water purification system that hummed softly, lights flickering in one building, and what appeared to be energy shields surrounding certain areas. Someone or something had maintained some of the technology. He didn't understand why or how, but it gave him a sliver of hope. Eventually, Aaron found the remains of a research lab. Broken equipment lay scattered across the floor. Holographic screens displayed half-finished experiments. Among them, he discovered one particularly intact device, a small spherical AI unit. It powered on when he touched it, its blue light pulsating steadily. "Hello, I'm Aura," the unit said in a calm, human-like voice. "You have awakened. You are the last confirmed human alive." The words made Aaron freeze. Last human alive. The weight of the statement pressed down on him. His mind raced with questions. Where were the others? What had caused humanity to vanish? Could he survive alone in this new world? "I will assist you," Aura continued. "I have preserved historical data, environmental analysis, and the remnants of human knowledge. We can begin to understand what happened. Together?" Aaron nodded, swallowing a lump in his throat. He had no other choice but to trust the machine. It was his only link to the past, to the people he had once known, and to the civilization that had disappeared. Together, they explored more of the city. Aura guided him to places where human knowledge was stored. Libraries with data cores, secure labs with preserved specimens, and satellite observation towers that still functioned. Aaron learned that the cosmic event mentioned in the messages had indeed struck Earth, but not in the way humans feared. It had altered the planet's environment, accelerated evolution, and caused catastrophic migrations. Humanity had been forced into an exodus or had perished, leaving behind relics and machines. Aaron's mind spun with both wonder and dread. The universe was far stranger than he had imagined. Humans, for all their ingenuity, had been fragile in ways they hadn't understood. Yet here he was, alive, unbroken. And with Aura at his side, he felt a small spark of possibility. As night fell over the abandoned city, Aaron stood atop a tall building. The sky was filled with unfamiliar stars and faint glimmers of energy, like invisible rivers flowing across the heavens. He thought of the message from long ago, "Hope is in your hands." He did not fully understand what it meant yet, but he felt the weight of responsibility. For the first time since awakening, he smiled. Not out of joy, but out of determination. Humanity might have disappeared, but Aaron was still here. He would search. He would learn. And maybe, just maybe, he could restore what had been lost. The wind whispered across the city, carrying the scent of moss and metal. In the silence, Aaron felt a strange companionship, not from humans, but from the world itself and from the small AI who had promised to guide him. The journey was only beginning. And so Aaron took his first real step into a world that had moved on without him, a world of mystery, danger, and potential that stretched far beyond the ruins of civilization. The morning light filtered through broken windows, painting long shadows across the abandoned city. Aaron stepped carefully over cracked concrete, moss curling around his boots. He carried Aura, the AI sphere, with him like a small companion, its blue glow pulsing gently in the quiet. For hours, he explored the streets, observing the strange balance between decay and survival. Trees had grown through skyscrapers, their roots splitting concrete and steel. Birds and small animals moved freely where humans once had walked. The city felt alive in its own way, yet there was no one to witness it, except him. "Aaron," Aura's calm voice interrupted his thoughts. "I have detected unusual energy readings in a sector west of this location. They may be related to the final events before humanity disappeared." Aaron looked at the horizon. The western district was a tangle of collapsed towers and streets swallowed by overgrowth. But curiosity burned brighter than fear. "Let's go," he said, his voice steady despite the unease curling in his stomach. The journey was slow. Every building he entered told a story. In one abandoned library, he found stacks of books still legible despite dust and time. Aura hovered over a digital datapad, scanning remnants of human knowledge. Some files contained warnings about the approaching cosmic event. Others detailed scientific experiments aimed at survival. Humans attempted to shield themselves, Aura explained. Some structures were reinforced with advanced materials. Some data indicates attempts to leave the planet, but the records end abruptly. Aaron paused by a shattered window. The sky had changed since his awakening. Wisps of strange light traced arcs through the clouds, faintly glowing as if carrying messages from another world. He could not interpret them, but instinct told him they were important. As they moved deeper into the western district, Aaron noticed signs of struggle. Vehicles were abandoned mid-journey. Some buildings bore marks of intense heat or energy, burned, twisted steel, and shattered glass. It looked as though the city had fought a battle it could not win. In one half-collapsed laboratory, Aaron found what looked like a research log, partially intact. He wiped the grime off the screen. The entries were dated just before the disappearance of humanity, describing a phenomenon that had startled scientists across the globe. Energy waves detected across multiple systems, the log read. They are accelerating environmental changes. Our defenses may not withstand the intensity. Evacuation may be necessary. The text ended mid-sentence. Aaron stared at it, a shiver running down his spine. The log confirmed what he had feared. The disappearance of humanity was not random. Something immense had changed the world. "Aaron," Aura said softly, "I have found coordinates that may lead to a remaining archive. It contains detailed observations of the events before humanity vanished." Aaron nodded. They left the ruined streets for a network of tunnels beneath the city, long-forgotten passageways that once served as emergency shelters and transport corridors. Darkness wrapped around them, but Aura's glow cut through the black like a beacon. He had walked these tunnels carefully, feeling the history etched into every wall. Graffiti, messages, and hastily scrawled notes told stories of fear, hope, and desperation. Hours passed, and Aaron began to notice a pattern. The messages hinted at a larger network of facilities, places where humanity had tried to protect its knowledge. Some were destroyed, others were abandoned, but the network suggested preparation for survival, as though humans had expected catastrophe. Finally, they reached a sealed chamber. The door was massive, covered in corrosion, but the locking mechanism still hummed faintly. Aura interfaced with it, running calculations and bypassing old security protocols. Slowly, the door creaked open, revealing a small archive. Inside, holographic screens floated in the air, displaying files that had been preserved for millennia. Aaron stepped inside, awe filling him. Every screen was a window to the past, experiments, simulations, and final messages from humanity. The archive even contained recordings of people who had been alive during the last days. Faces flickered and spoke softly, recounting events as though sending warnings to someone far in the future. "This is incredible," Aaron whispered. "It's like a message in a bottle left for me." Aura hovered closer. "We should begin analyzing the data systematically. It may hold the key to understanding what caused the extinction, and perhaps what remains of humanity's legacy." Hours turned into days as Aaron absorbed information. He learned about the cosmic event that had reshaped the world. A wave of energy, unlike anything humans had previously observed, had swept across Earth and nearby planets. It altered climates, accelerated evolution, and disrupted human settlements. Many humans had attempted to leave Earth, constructing ships and habitats designed for survival in space, but their fate was uncertain. The more Aaron learned, the more determined he became. Humanity might have vanished, but the knowledge, technology, and ambition they had left behind were not lost. They were a seed, and he, the last human alive, was the caretaker. One day, while scanning satellite archives, Aaron noticed a strange signal. Unlike anything he had encountered before, it was subtle, almost imperceptible, yet it repeated with a regular rhythm, hinting at intelligent design. "Aura," he said, leaning over the console. "Do you recognize this pattern?" "Negative," Aura replied. "It does not match any known human or natural source. However, its persistence suggests it is deliberate. Someone or something is transmitting it." Aaron felt a thrill mixed with fear. A signal meant someone or something was out there. Perhaps another human colony survived. Perhaps it was alien in origin. The possibilities were endless, and the answers could change everything. For the first time since awakening, Aaron experienced a glimmer of hope that stretched beyond survival. This signal might be the key to understanding why humanity disappeared, and whether the future still held a place for him. He prepared for a journey. Supplies were scarce, but Aaron had Aura and the remnants of human technology to aid him. He gathered maps, energy packs, and portable devices, studying the route toward the signal's source. Each step forward was a step into uncertainty, but also into potential discovery. As night fell over the city, Aaron stood on the roof of the archive building. The stars above were different now, brighter, sharper, alive with strange colors. He felt small, almost insignificant yet also incredibly important. Humanity might have vanished, but he was still here, and he would seek answers no matter how long the journey. "Tomorrow," he said to Aura, "we follow the signal." "Acknowledged," the AI replied. "We are ready." Aaron looked once more at the city below, silent and waiting. He understood that every abandoned street, every empty building, and every lost artifact was a story, a piece of humanity's memory, and now it was his responsibility to carry that memory forward. The wind blew softly, carrying the scent of moss, metal, and old stone. It whispered across the city like a reminder. The world had changed, but life, resilient and persistent, remained. Aaron tightened his jacket and took a deep breath. His journey was only beginning, and the first real clues to humanity's disappearance lay ahead. With Aura hovering beside him, he stepped down from the roof and into the streets once more. Every step was deliberate, every moment a choice. He did not yet know what awaited him, but he knew he was ready. The silence of 15,000 years was ending. A new chapter, filled with questions, discoveries, and hope, was beginning. The sun was just rising, spilling pale light across the city. Aaron packed his remaining supplies, carefully checking the small devices Aura had prepared. The AI hovered at his side, glowing softly, analyzing the signal that had appeared in the archives. "The signal is faint, but it is directional," Aura explained. "If we follow it precisely, it will lead us to its source. However, the path is uncharted and hazards are likely." Aaron nodded. He had expected danger. Since awakening, the world had already shown him how fragile humanity's legacy was. Still, the thought of discovering someone or something beyond the silence filled him with determination. They left the city, moving through forests that had overtaken once busy highways. Nature had reclaimed much of the land, but technology remained scattered and silent, reminders of the human touch. Broken towers, fallen bridges, and rusting vehicles told a story of abrupt departure. Aaron stepped carefully over roots and debris, feeling both awe and sadness. Humanity's achievements were still visible, but so was the emptiness they had left behind. The signal grew slightly stronger as they progressed. Aura projected a small holographic map in the air, marking the general direction. Aaron followed diligently, climbing hills, crossing rivers, and navigating tunnels that ran beneath crumbling cities. Every step tested his endurance, but he pressed on. "Aaron," Aura said suddenly, "the readings are not consistent with any natural phenomenon. The signal may originate from an artificial source buried within the terrain ahead." Aaron's curiosity surged. "Artificial?" he asked. "Like another human colony?" "Possibly," Aura replied. "Or something far more advanced. The energy patterns suggest intelligence and precision beyond our current understanding." They approached a canyon, jagged rocks forming a natural barrier. Aaron scanned the walls with Aura's sensors. Embedded in the stone were remnants of metal and machinery, hidden almost perfectly by erosion and time. It was clear that whatever had created this signal did not want to be easily found. "We must descend carefully," Aaron said, tightening his grip on a rope that Aura had produced from its internal storage. Step by step they made their way down, testing each foothold. Below, a small valley opened, a hidden area unlike anything Aaron had seen. In the center of the valley was a structure, partially buried in earth and vegetation. It looked ancient, yet some parts of it glowed faintly with energy. Panels and conduits jutted from the walls like veins pulsing softly. Aaron realized that this place had survived millennia untouched, a secret waiting for discovery. As he approached, the signal intensified. It was rhythmic, almost like a heartbeat guiding him closer. He ran his fingers over the walls, feeling energy hum beneath the surface. Aura hovered beside him, scanning every inch. "This is remarkable," the AI said. "The structure contains advanced systems, likely self-powered. It may have preserved information or life from the last days of humanity." Aaron's heart raced. He carefully opened the main entrance, revealing a chamber lined with crystalline panels that refracted light in strange patterns. Inside, he saw devices that seemed far beyond what humans had been capable of. Some appeared to be observation systems, while others might have been used to store information or maintain life. "There is a chamber deeper inside," Aura said. "It may contain the origin of the signal." Aaron descended carefully, following a spiral corridor that led to a central core. Here, the signal was strongest. A massive console dominated the room, surrounded by pods that resembled sleeping chambers. Each pod had a faint glow, and inscriptions along their edges suggested careful planning for preservation or protection. Could these be survivors? Aaron whispered. Aura scanned them. Negative. The chambers are empty, though the technology is designed for life support. However, the data cores indicate preserved human knowledge, instructions, and possibly simulations of human consciousness. Aaron's mind whirled. Humanity might be gone, but these devices were a bridge to the past. They were a way to understand what had happened and maybe even continue the legacy of civilization. He approached the central console. Holographic screens flickered to life, displaying fragments of messages, recordings, and schematics. The signal pulsed rhythmically from the console as if urging him to understand. He studied the files carefully, piecing together the final days of human civilization. The records described the cosmic event in detail. An energy wave from deep space, powerful enough to reshape the planet and threaten human survival. Humans had built these hidden chambers and systems as a final effort to preserve life and knowledge, hoping that someone might find it in the future. They left messages for anyone who survived. Aura said softly. Perhaps they hoped the last human would awaken and continue their work. Aaron felt a mix of awe and responsibility. The scale of what humanity had attempted to protect was staggering. He realized that his journey was no longer just about survival. It was about legacy, about understanding and preserving the wisdom of an entire species. Hours passed as he explored the chamber, learning to operate the devices with Aura's guidance. Some systems could project virtual simulations of Earth before the catastrophe. Others contained instructions for repairing and maintaining technology that had lasted millennia. Every new discovery strengthened Aaron's resolve. Suddenly, a faint hum echoed through the chamber. One of the panels activated, revealing a map that extended beyond Earth, a trajectory leading toward the outer planets and nearby stars. The signal originated not only from this chamber, but from multiple locations scattered across the system. Aaron, Aura said, this is a network. The signal is part of a larger system designed to guide survivors or future generations. Its purpose may be to reunite scattered knowledge and technology. Aaron absorbed the information. If humanity had attempted to leave Earth, perhaps some had succeeded. Or perhaps this network was the last gift of a vanished civilization, a guide for anyone who might walk the stars one day. He felt the weight of time pressing down on him. 15,000 years had passed, and yet here he was, standing in the remnants of human ambition and hope. The silence that had filled his life since awakening now felt different. It was no longer empty. It was a challenge, a call to action. We should continue following the network, Aaron said finally. If there are other locations like this, we need to find them. There may be answers, and maybe even a way to restore what was lost. Aura projected the route, highlighting potential paths across the planet and into space. Aaron studied it, understanding the risks. Harsh terrain, unknown technologies, and the uncertainty of the cosmos. Yet determination burned in him. Humanity had vanished, but he had survived. That alone was reason enough to continue. As night fell over the hidden valley, Aaron set up a small camp. He watched the stars through a gap in the crystalline ceiling, noticing patterns and movements that were unfamiliar but mesmerizing. The universe seemed alive, full of hidden energy and intelligence. And somewhere within it, the signal continued, waiting for him to follow. Aaron lay down beside Aura, resting for the first time since leaving the city. Sleep did not come easily. His mind raced with possibilities and plans, but he felt a strange peace. He was no longer just a survivor. He was a seeker, a protector, and perhaps the final witness of human legacy. The signal pulsed softly through the chamber, a heartbeat echoing across time and space. It was a reminder that he was not truly alone. Somewhere beyond the silence, something waited. Something that might explain why humanity had vanished and whether hope could still endure. And with that thought, Aaron closed his eyes, ready to face the journey ahead. Tomorrow he would leave the valley, following the network of signals that could lead him across the planet, and perhaps beyond. Every step would be a step into the unknown, but also a step toward understanding the fate of humanity and the possibilities of the future. The first clues had been found. The journey was only beginning. Aaron awoke to the soft glow of Aura hovering nearby. The hidden valley had grown quiet under the night sky, and faint streams of light traced unfamiliar constellations overhead. He felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. Today, they would leave the valley and follow the next signal. "Aaron," Aura said, "the next node in the network is located hundreds of kilometers from here. Terrain is rough, but the path is detectable. I have calculated an optimal route." Aaron nodded, strapping on his pack. The valley's crystalline walls shimmered faintly as they moved past the hidden entrance, sunlight reflecting off the embedded energy conduits. He looked back once, feeling a strange attachment to the place. It had been a haven, a secret preserved through millennia, and yet staying would accomplish nothing. Humanity's legacy could not remain hidden forever. The journey began across vast plains where nature had taken over old roads and cities. Forests stretched in all directions, their dense canopies hiding broken structures and rusting relics of a civilization long gone. Occasionally, Aaron would stumble across remnants of human life, collapsed towers, skeletal cars, and fragments of technology half swallowed by moss. "Aura," Aaron said, scanning a ruined laboratory with his handheld scanner. "Do these structures have data storage? Anything we can recover?" "Minor information exists," Aura replied. "But most critical systems were likely centralized in secure hubs or the network nodes. This location primarily shows historical and environmental data." Aaron sighed. Each discovery was a reminder of both human ingenuity and fragility. Humans had built wonders, yet they had vanished so completely. Still, the traces of their presence gave him hope. They had not disappeared without leaving guidance for someone to find. As they approached a canyon filled with jagged rocks, the signal grew stronger. The air seemed to hum faintly, a vibration that Aaron could feel in his chest. He realized the energy from the signal was interacting with the environment itself, bending faint streams of light and causing metallic objects nearby to resonate softly. "The network nodes appear to be semi-sentient," Aura observed. "They are responding to our presence, adjusting energy fields, and guiding us toward the next location." Aaron's eyes widened. The nodes were more than just repositories of data. They were active, adaptive systems left behind by humanity. Perhaps this was the final gift. A system designed not only to store knowledge but to preserve hope itself. The descent into the canyon was challenging. Loose rocks shifted beneath his feet, and a sudden gust of wind nearly threw him off balance. But Aura provided guidance, projecting invisible lines through the air to mark safe steps and alerting him to unstable terrain. By midday, they reached a cave carved into the rock face. The signal was almost deafening here, pulsing rhythmically from within. Inside the cave, Aaron discovered another chamber. Unlike the valley node, this one was partially exposed to the elements, but the technology had survived. Panels and conduits were embedded into the walls, humming faintly as if awakening at their arrival. The chamber contained a central console and a series of crystalline devices similar to the first node. "The energy readings are stable," Aura reported. "The node has preserved knowledge, likely intended to expand on what we found previously." Aaron approached the console and activated it. Holographic screens flickered to life, displaying simulations of Earth before and after the cosmic event. He watched forests and oceans change, storms rage, and cities crumble. The images were detailed, almost lifelike, showing the struggle of humans against forces far beyond their control. As he explored further, Aaron noticed files labeled Project Continuity. The description indicated that humans had attempted to preserve not just knowledge, but also life, genetic material, AI programming, and ecological plans for the planet. They wanted to ensure that humanity, or at least its legacy, could continue, Aaron said, awe in his voice. Even if the species disappeared, they left behind tools to rebuild. "Correct," Aura confirmed. "The network is designed to connect these nodes, gradually revealing more information as it detects a capable user. You may be the first human to activate it fully." Aaron felt the weight of responsibility press down on him. 15,000 years had passed, yet here he was, standing at the center of a network created to guide survivors, preserve knowledge, and perhaps even restore life. He was no longer just an observer, he was a participant in humanity's plan, entrusted with a mission centuries in the making. While exploring the chamber, Aaron discovered something unexpected, a log from the last scientists who had operated this node. Their messages were filled with urgency and fear, but also with hope. They spoke of signals sent across the planet, intended to guide anyone who survived the catastrophe. One entry hinted at other beings, intelligent life forms, that had been aware of the cosmic event and its potential impact on Earth. Other beings? Aaron whispered. Aliens. The records are unclear, Aura said. It is possible they refer to advanced AI, other species, or unknown cosmic entities. The intention was to provide guidance for survival. Aaron's mind raced. The universe was far larger and more complex than he had imagined. Humanity had faced challenges beyond comprehension and yet had prepared, leaving behind a network to continue the fight, even in their absence. Night fell in the canyon, and Aaron set up a small camp within the chamber. The crystalline panels glowed faintly, illuminating the space with soft light. He reflected on the journey so far, from awakening alone in a silent city, to discovering the hidden valley, and now to uncovering this advanced node. Each step brought him closer to understanding the fate of humanity and the legacy left behind. Tomorrow, Aaron said to Aura, we follow the next signal. There may be more nodes, more information. We need to continue. Acknowledged, Aura replied. The network is extensive. Each node is likely more advanced than the last. Preparedness is crucial. Sleep came slowly, but when it did, Aaron dreamed of voices long gone, laughter, warnings, and messages from people he would never meet. They seemed to guide him, whispering reassurance that he was on the right path. Morning arrived with a pale, golden light spilling into the canyon. Aaron packed his supplies and activated the next directional readout from the node. The path would lead them across mountains, deserts, and perhaps even to the edge of the solar system. The signal pulsed steadily, a constant reminder that the journey was far from over. As they moved, Aaron felt a growing sense of purpose. Humanity had vanished, yes, but their hope, knowledge, and determination lived on through these nodes. He was no longer alone in the universe. He had the guidance of AI, the wisdom of millennia, and the path illuminated by signals left by those who had come before. The world outside the canyon was wild and untamed. Forests gave way to rocky plains, rivers carved deep valleys, and distant mountains shimmered with traces of energy that Aaron could feel, but not yet understand. Every step forward was a lesson in resilience. Nature had adapted, evolved, and reclaimed what humans had once taken for granted. Aaron realized that the journey was as much about understanding the present as uncovering the past. Humanity's disappearance was not just a mystery, it was a test of adaptation, intelligence, and perseverance. And he, as the last human, was part of that test. As the sun set over the distant horizon, Aaron paused to look back. The canyon, the valley, and the hidden city were behind him, relics of a world left untouched for millennia. Ahead, the signal pulsed faintly, guiding him onward. The path was uncertain, filled with challenges yet unseen, but Aaron felt ready. With Aura beside him, he stepped into the unknown. Each movement, each decision, each thought was a continuation of humanity's legacy, a spark of life in a silent world. The first clues had led him here. Now he would follow the network, uncover deeper mysteries, and perhaps one day, understand why humanity had disappeared. The journey stretched out endlessly, but for the first time since awakening, Aaron felt that he was not lost. He was exactly where he needed to be, on a path that could change everything, carrying the hope of a vanished civilization forward into the unknown. The path ahead stretched endlessly, a mixture of rocky terrain, dense forests, and distant mountains that glimmered faintly under the strange sky. Aaron adjusted his pack and glanced at Aura, whose blue glow pulsed steadily, a silent reminder that they were not alone in their quest. The final node is ahead, Aura said. Its energy signature is stronger than all previous nodes combined. Caution is advised, Aaron nodded. Every step so far had prepared him for this moment. The hidden valley, the canyon node, and countless hours of discovery had taught him patience, observation, and resilience. but he knew the final node might reveal truths he was not ready for. As they climbed a steep ridge, the landscape transformed. Jagged cliffs rose around them, and the wind carried a faint hum that resonated with the signal. Rocks along the path seemed infused with energy, shimmering faintly with patterns that reminded Aaron of circuitry. He realized the world itself had become part of the network, alive in a way that he had never imagined. At the top of the ridge, Aaron paused. Below him lay a massive structure partially buried in rock and soil, far larger than any node he had encountered before. Its surface was metallic and crystalline, pulsating with light that matched the rhythm of the signal. This was the heart of the network, the origin of the signal guiding him across the planet. This is incredible, Aaron whispered, awe in his voice. All the nodes. They led here. Aura hovered closer, scanning the structure. The technology here is ancient yet highly advanced. It appears to have been designed not only to preserve knowledge but also to communicate across interstellar distances. Aaron stepped forward, approaching a massive entrance. Panels shifted silently as he neared, responding to his presence. Inside, the chamber was vast, filled with crystalline structures that seemed to hum with energy. Holographic screens floated in midair, displaying complex patterns, star charts, and simulations of entire ecosystems. This is the culmination of humanity's work, Aura said. Everything preserved, everything protected, converging at this node. Aaron's heart pounded. He explored the chamber carefully, touching the holographic displays. He saw simulations of cities rebuilt, forests restored, oceans teeming with life. He saw warnings, plans, and messages from humans who had vanished long ago. It was as if they had left instructions for someone, anyone, who could continue their legacy. Among the files, Aaron discovered a log marked Final Transmission. The message was from a scientist who had overseen the network's creation. If you find this, the log began, know that humanity faced a force beyond its understanding. We have vanished, but we have prepared. The network is our gift, our hope, and our final message. You, the last human, have the power to continue what we started. Learn, preserve, and create. The universe is vast, but it is yours to explore. Aaron felt a lump in his throat. 15,000 years of silence, and now this message meant for him. Bridging the gap between a lost civilization and a future yet to be written, he realized the enormity of the responsibility placed upon him. We must continue the network, Aaron said, determination in his voice. We cannot let humanity's work fade into oblivion. Aura scanned the chamber further. There are systems here that can assist in preservation, replication, and communication. They can guide you to other nodes beyond this planet and perhaps even beyond this solar system. Aaron absorbed the information. Humanity had prepared for the possibility of extinction, creating a network to ensure knowledge, life, and hope could survive. Now it was his task to activate and expand it. He began interacting with the consoles, learning to control the energy flows and communication systems. The technology was unlike anything he had seen. Part artificial intelligence, part living structure. It responded to his touch, adapting and offering options to preserve the past while preparing for the future. Hours passed as he activated systems, linked nodes, and restored partial communication with other remote structures. Aaron realized the scale of what humans had left behind. They had not vanished without leaving a path forward. Their foresight, courage, and dedication had created a legacy that could endure far beyond the confines of Earth. As night fell over the chamber, Aaron stepped outside onto a terrace overlooking the planet. The sky was alive with distant lights, some natural, some perhaps artificial, but all part of a universe that had continued its motion even as humanity disappeared. He felt small yet empowered. He was no longer merely a survivor. He was the keeper of a civilization's hope. Aura, he said, looking at the AI. What about life beyond Earth? Could there be other survivors? Possibly, Aura replied. The network was designed to communicate with distant colonies or unknown intelligences. Its purpose is to extend humanity's presence and knowledge regardless of location. Aaron thought of the stars stretching endlessly above. The universe was vast and he was one human in an endless sea of possibilities. But the network offered a bridge, a connection to a past civilization and a chance to influence the future. He realized that humanity's disappearance was not the end. It was an opportunity, a call to rebuild, explore, and preserve what had once thrived. And he, the last human alive, had been chosen to answer that call. The days that followed were filled with intense activity. Aaron worked alongside Aura to connect all known nodes, stabilize the energy networks, and ensure the integrity of stored knowledge. They uncovered records of scientific breakthroughs, ecological restoration plans, and even artistic creations meant to inspire future generations. Each discovery deepened his appreciation for the ingenuity and resilience of those who had come before. One day, while examining a distant node's projection, Aaron noticed something unusual, a faint signal originating from another star system. It was weak but undeniably artificial. Could this be another human colony? Aaron asked. Unknown, Aura replied. The network has not interacted with this location before. It may contain information, technology, or life. Investigation is recommended. Aaron's heart raced. The possibility that humanity, or at least its legacy, had survived elsewhere filled him with hope. He realized that his journey was far from over. The disappearance of humanity was not a final silence. It was the beginning of a quest that could span planets, systems, and perhaps even the stars themselves. As the first light of a new day touched the crystalline chamber, Aaron stepped outside. The planet stretched endlessly before him, a mixture of wilderness, ruins, and remnants of human civilization. He felt the weight of responsibility but also the thrill of discovery. We continue, he said, looking toward the horizon. We follow the network, we preserve what remains, and we explore what is yet to be found. Aura glowed brightly beside him, ready for the next stage of their journey. Together they would navigate the unknown, uncover the truth of humanity's disappearance, and ensure that hope endured. Aaron understood that the silence of 15,000 years was over. The legacy of humanity was alive in him, pulsing through the network and reaching outward into the stars. He would honor it, protect it, and extend it, proving that even in the absence of billions, a single human could make a difference. And as he stepped forward, the signal pulsed stronger than ever, guiding him into a universe filled with endless possibilities, mysteries to unravel, and hope waiting to be realized. Humanity had vanished, but the spark of life, knowledge, and courage remained. Aaron would carry it forward, into the unknown, into the future, and into the stars. The journey was far from over, but for the first time Aaron knew that he was not alone. The legacy of humanity was alive, and he was the keeper of that eternal flame.